Alright guys, welcome back to the G2A Monday Cup. For Gibby, if you're listening to the stream right now, man, it'll be a few minutes. We've got to focus on getting the cast going, but we'll play some after. It is game number 1 in a brand new best of 3, spawning here on the top right side of Dusk Towers. It's going to be the purple Terran Beastyqt.
In the bottom left as the blue Zerg, he is Snake. Snake,
it's a snake. Actually, real quick,
live
with the G2A Monday Cup. TvZ, best of 3, Beastyqt, Snake on BaseTradeTV, as I am not doing social media very well. What did I get myself into? Time to embarrass myself. Okay, so in fairness, Beasty's a pretty good player. Snake would have to be an equally good player to have an even odd going into the series. I do say, though, the nice thing about these cups... Wow, that sounded really... I do say about these cups is it does allow for anybody to come out and play. And, well, for some people, this is not always going to be even footing and an even playing field. It's worth noting that, you know, talking to players like Mana and Snoot and others, I mean, if you guys caught the interview on stream just yesterday, really showcases how, okay, these cups might not be the best environment for you to win money, but they're going to be the best environment for you to practice, to learn to play, to get builds, you name it. So, Beasty... he's probably going to be the favorite to take this series, in my eyes, but maybe Snake gets some pretty good games out of this. It's also worth noting, we've seen Beasty do really well, but also really bad. Like, I don't know where he sits in the game right now.
He can be either or, I guess, depending on the day and the match, actually, too. But I think there's no reason for him to play, like, silly, first of all, or, I guess, really abusive might be the better term. Beastyqt has been throwing out a couple of mech games, long games of different variations, but I don't think there's really a need here. It might be his like power build, the one that he uses if he thinks he's going to lose the game in a best of 5 or whatever to get to the finals, and it might be a fun build for him to try it every now and then. I'm not sure which or both. Right,
so you say mech, and I think we do need to elaborate on that just a little bit, because mech now is not necessarily mech what it used to be, and it's more like Ghost Turtle than mech, but you know, there's still some builds where you'll see the tanks obviously be the priority, but not to say that you're going to see a lot of Hellbats or Thors or anything like you used to. A lot of it is just that more defensive setup to get air eventually, which is hard because I feel like ever since they separated the upgrades, I stopped really considering air part of mech and more just like its own thing.
Sure. I don't think that's a bad way to look at it. Air mech is really... I guess the whole idea of mech is just basically mechanical things, so it's still correct, because all of air is mechanical, but... You know, there's the Artosis blog that described mech as less so about being about mechanical units and more so being about a style of play, which, you know, was slow and kind of turtly and very slow expansions and just, you know, that whole chestnuts. But I guess it's up to your interpretation.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of talk about making mech more viable again, right? Like whether it's and regardless of your interpretation, just like the idea, the strategy, whatever. Mech in all aspects is not too great right now. But one of the ones I really enjoyed reading that I don't know would be too practical is I like the idea someone had posted a little while ago. I don't remember if it was Reddit or Team Liquid about making a Viking producible from a factory, but like a landed Viking that you could then lift up and go to the air or something with. I thought that's not such a bad idea, because one of the problems you have right now with mech is a lot of the production style, right? Like, truth be told, you don't necessarily always need...
so it would help out in the swap towards the late game?
Or just anywhere. You wouldn't need 7 starports, because you've already got the 6 factories down. You could actually produce Vikings from 6 factories. Or even in the early game. You know, you get hit with mutas quickly, you're like, oh, well, I built 1 Liberator and I'm dead. No, you actually built 2 Vikings as well from the factories. You know, I mean...
Yeah, that's not as much of a problem nowadays, but it is... I could see it being one.
Well, we can't classify problems for mech nowadays, because nobody goes mech nowadays.
Exactly. no one's actually going for it. But I can see actually where that would potentially work.
I thought it was a cool idea. I just wanted to bring it up, because it was one that... There's been a lot of ideas thrown around about the game and changing maps and this. For me, that was the one that just seemed the most innocently like, how could this possibly ever be construed as broken?
Yeah, the Viking's not very powerful, so I don't know, like, what, like, you know, like, well, thank God I got a Viking now,
you know
because
what?
that's going to help with my Hellbat push.
It would totally help with those dumb situations of proxy tempests and whatnot, too, because you'd actually have the means to produce the Vikings you need.
I guess maybe, that mobile of anti-air against, like, against Overlords early might be a problem. That, like, Overlord's already being sniped and you can barely keep your queens alive.
Maybe.
Maybe. Who knows? It's never gonna go through. I mean, who are you kidding? So it's all hypothetical. This game is a little wonky. We did have roaches and then a spire, I believe. So maybe he's gonna go back into roaches afterwards, or maybe this was just the opener. We'll see if he ever throws down a baneling nest or roach speed. And Beastyqt went for a fast 3cc build, so he has stim and upgrades on the way, and he should be pushing whenever that's finished. Pretty hard. Oh, by the way, I was wondering who was why Tang Tang asked who Chicken was. And then I finally found Chicken on the bracket was the guy who was facing Guru. And I wonder if that's Arthur.
Ah, Chicken Arthur would make sense, actually, because that was his tag for a while.
Yeah, yeah. So I that might have been. He lost. I don't know if Arthur's still in game, but we could have checked if it wasn't for, Blizzard's new UI in game. Just throwing it out there, Blizzard.
Well, Muta's flying around looking for a bit of harass. I don't think this will be enough to draw Beastie to start panicking. He does have a pretty good push coming in the middle of the map. Combat Shield is timed out pretty well for this 1-1. I mean, the timing on this is awesome as long as the medevacs don't get caught. Ooh. A little bit scary for those Mutas. Snake is not finding too much luck getting damage done here.
No. His supply is a little worrying. He is trying to transfer over into Mutaling Bling, but his speed's a little bit late. It should be finished up here, but his Baneling speed, more importantly, is definitely late and not going to be finished. Now, Beastyqt has to be kind of careful, has to give the guy some benefit of the doubt to not push too hard on a creep, because he could risk losing everything to even slow Baneling. So he cleans it up and then moves right off it.
Well, about time to see those Banelings pop. Speed's going to be absolutely necessary, but the problem is, by clearing up creep, those Banelings aren't going to have a lot of fights. Obviously, you can try and take fights off of creep. No one's ever going to tell you not to if it's desperate, but obviously you're always going to have that preferential treatment for that speed boost.
Yeah. That's a bigger army now, as Beastyqt is rallying forward.
Significantly bigger army, too. 80 army supply over 63. He's got the 1-1 upgrade advantage. Hitting now for this timing is going to be really sick, because Snake, his upgrades are coming, but they're not here. Roach speed's not done. Baneling speed's not done. 1-1's not done. This timing is pretty sick from Beastie.
Yeah, I wonder why he's trying to get both, a couple of Ravagers to start off, and then transferring over is not a bad idea, but to continue investing into Roaches is a little interesting. Kind of old school, but...
Widowmine does not help itself there, but not enough damage done.
Yeah. Not enough units from Snake here to really push this back. No more Banelings. He's just going to tap out.
Alright, GG. Beastyqt, ladies and gentlemen, will take the first game in this best of 3. I just realized, too, I'm wondering... So we had daylight savings, but Europe and the rest of the world didn't, correct?
I have no idea about the rest of the world.
Well, I'm just wondering, would this then be an hour earlier than normal for a lot of these guys?
For the Koreans, yes.
Well, for the Koreans, I know. I'm talking about Europe.
But I have no idea about Europe. I don't know who doesn't recognize it.
Well, his chat can let us know whenever they...
There's so many countries in Europe.
Yeah, it's hard to just generalize. But okay, regardless, that's just game 1. We'll get game number 2 up here in just a moment. If we can get the lobbies, obviously preferred for their mods, but players may just be looking to jump and gun in.
Yeah. Looks like it is going to be ruins.
Cool. So I tweeted about this morning. I guess we can't start too big of a discussion now because the game's getting up, but have you seen... Oh, you don't see ads on Twitch. Never mind, that's right. You and your Twitch
Yep.
Turbo.
I don't see ads at all anymore.
Well, there's been these Bean Boozled ads recently, which I don't have a problem with, but it's the acting is so bad in them. So it's like kid choose a bean, and I'm pretty sure it's not a disgusting bean because there's no way the actor's would. He's just like, it's so gross, guys. This is genuine, believe me. And that I have a problem with. But Runes of Sarah's intro. Talk about that after. What were those pings about? Did you see those?
I did. I don't know.
Okay, so for clarity here, guys, we log in and then there's just ping spam. I don't know what was up with that, but okay. Game number 2 currently underway. He was pinging something needed to be defended. Spawning the bottom left side of Runes of Ceres, it's the blue Zerg player, Snake.
In the top left, as the yellow Terran, it's Beastyqt.
I also want to give a shout out to some of the people in chat who've been spamming game keys, which is awesome. Again, that whole G2A setup where we're trying to get some games out, people paying it forward by giving some of our viewers some free games, that's pretty awesome. So I can't verify who and what. We can't do giveaways through the bot. Everything's broken today. But thank you, chat, for being excellent.
Looks like we got an answer about our question about Europe, and I forgot about this, that they do it later, but they still do it. What's up with that?
Yeah, daily savings is in 2 weeks for Europe, apparently.
Why? So dumb.
Because reasons, Zombie Grub. Because reasons.
I'll just get rid of it. Just stay on the hour.
So I want to go back on this Bean Boozled thing for a moment. Regardless of my distaste for the actual commercials and the acting in it, whatever, it's funny because like all the time we always talk about this. When we go to events, you don't get to partake in this, but I have a good time meeting some of the people who watch our Twitch stream and watch the ads for the Twitch stream, and we kind of bitch and bond about the ads quite a bit. And I will say that this is not the worst set of commercials we've seen on Twitch. But what I hate more about it is I've played whatever version this was. We did the Harry Potter version of Bean Boozled or whatever, right? The Bernie's something.
Oh, are these jelly beans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Brody Bot's every flavored beans.
Right. And, of course, this is my favorite story because this was
Russian
not only...
roulette. Russian roulette.
Yeah, Russian roulette. We did this with not only the Carbots, but Heyoka from Team Liquid and someone else who I can't remember off the top of my head. Unless that was it. I think it was just Heyoka. Anyways, point of it was... I got to watch Zombie throw up in her mouth a little bit. It was pretty nasty. And those beans, like, the reason I have a problem with the acting in the commercial is if you actually eat those disgusting beans, I know what the real reaction looks like.
Wait, this is an ad for Birdie Bots.
No, it was called Bean Boozled. It's like
but it was the same idea?
Yeah, like,
gross.
Is it popcorn or is it barf?
Okay. Yeah, I think I've seen those knockoffs that are like right next to the Harry Potter themed ones. But yeah, okay, then you're absolutely right. Like, you know, I threw up at rotten egg. It really did taste like a rotten egg. So that was my bad. But I kept it together, and then I just calmly walked over and spit it out in the bathroom. I kept my cool.
I busted out my mouthwash. I was like, "Here you go, Zombie Girl." Like,
yeah, that was nice.
Sorry that had to happen.
I just remember Carbot just screaming, "No, I'm done. That's it." No.
Yeah. Carbot, like the guy who actually owns Animes and created Carbot, he's just sitting there on the bed like, he had no problem playing this game, but the second he sees Zombie Grub reaction, he's like, nope, I'm done. I'm out. Peace. Now, something to talk about here. Snake catches Beastie off guard pretty nicely, I'd say. This is almost going to force the lift off of the command center, gets an SCV kill or two. Beastie doesn't have enough units in the bunker to come out and deal with this, and because of his supply there, you didn't actually have the Hellions started in time either.
Yeah, this definitely caught him off guard, but Hellions will be able to push this back, and then eventually Beastyqt will be able to get his own revenge with this 2-base push he set up here. So it's going to include Hellions, oddly enough. I don't know if he's going to add on like a really early armory to turn him into Hellbats, but he is looking for a 2-base build first and foremost, and then maybe add the 3rd CC on a little bit later. And I'm not sure Snake is going to be prepared for that. Snake does have a 2-base lair. Should end going with that Spire soon. Oh, he doesn't have gas. There it is. I don't know which one's going to come out sooner, though. Snake is holding on to the reactor for his starport, so I'm going to build one Liberator and then swap it over, I guess. As Stim isn't really all that early, so I guess his push is going to wait for that.
So, by the way, apparently the pings, someone else in chat is telling us there's a bug. I've never seen this one. I've seen a lot of StarCraft 2 bugs. I've experienced a lot of StarCraft 2 bugs. But apparently if you tab out, you can get like the alt button stuck when you click back in.
So this is another alt-tab bug. That's the third one.
StarCraft has a very strong idea where they don't want you leaving the game, Zombie. They want you to enjoy their game, and you're not allowed to leave it for anything.
They're trying to make you a better, player, right? Like, stop alt-tabbing, just get your head in the game.
They're like, we could give these guys skins to make them more invested in the game and want to stay in StarCraft more, or we could just give them all these problems.
Yeah, so they have no choice but to stay in StarCraft. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, Liberty comes to the main of Snake. It's worth noting, Snake's attack earlier did set Beastie off a little bit. In fact, we can't use income graph, sadly, as I just now realized we're not using our mod, but he's recovered from it pretty nicely. I thought he was going to struggle a little bit more. But the scary thing is, Muters are already on the way. Liberator gets pushed off. He's not really getting counter-harassing. The one kind of solace, though, is he knows his opponent's not on a third base. There's no 3 base set up here.
Yeah. Beastyqt finally throws on his own, but after having three barracks production and medevacs already created, it's still that 2-base for push first, and it's actually going to be just a direct drop, which Snake would have the ultimate answer to if his mutas find the medevacs. They might get turned around to go deal with the Liberator, but they do not. They actually do, but then they pass by.
Everybody
nice
gets awkward.
reaction. Nice reaction from Beastyqt. Snake actually did not react to that. Half of his mutas went, and then the half went to the main base. Beastyqt, I'm surprised he didn't have any missile turrets. Like, he saw the lack of a third base, and then I guess didn't really consider, or maybe thought that his production would be enough. Which it is, it just wasn't in the right place. And now, his push is actually held off significantly. Like, he really wanted to be able to drop or push directly with that and clear up creep.
So, the mutas, though... As I say, they weren't devastating initially. They've got a good amount of SCV kills. Like, this stacks on top of the 5 or so we got early on.
18. Jam.
Yeah, this gets a little bit crazy for Beasty. Stim is done now, though, so he can start being mobile enough to chase these down. It's not as problematic as it was a moment ago. Picking up one muta for a couple of Marines, that's always going to be worth it. Other side of the map does lose his Hellions, which were just kind of camping out, denying that third for some time. So this is a bit of a weird game for me, because Beasty's on 3CC, and taking SCV losses, losing that mining early on, like, technically he should be behind. But it's more that Snake hasn't really been able to capitalize and get ahead off of any of this.
Yeah, the SCV counts is nice, but he didn't get that third base down and running, so he's not as far ahead as he could have been. Beastyqt did not have an engineering bay finished, and finally he gets an SCV back on that and finishes up, so he has the missile turrets to be able to defend. He just was basically a mass drop into the main, like, to hell with your mutas, and the mutas can't help once the Marines are already unloaded. And I don't think he has anything else. 7 Banelings are now morphing in. No upgrade for you, no more Banelings for you, probably. He finds the Banelings, actually.
I was going to say, the Banelings here would have a great time because these Marines don't have combat shields. So he actually gets some pretty, like, what little hits he gets end up being pretty good. Problem is for this, though, Snake, once again, he's only just slapping down his third. Beasty's transferred over into Orbital. He's on 42 SCVs. He's recovered a lot of his losses. And even if he loses everything on the front lines, if Snake plays too tentative, Beasty's going to have plenty of time to recover. But it is worth noting, Beasty's production is not very good right now. And this is kind of danger zone territory. He lost everything on the other side of the map.
Yeah. Those Banelings, those Lings were enough, especially without those combat shields. They finished up now, but still, that was a big deal. And their army supply is half that. So ends up saving one medevac. At least that's something. And maybe try and fake drop, like as an Odyssey, a boosted empty medevac. But hey, whatever.
This Liberator is going to have to get some amazing splash damage done.
Well, Snake's already splitting. He doesn't have any Bane... Oh, there are the Banelings with this. They don't have speed, but they don't really need it. Gonna crash in either way. Maybe go for the bunker. No, they go for the rest of the Marines. And actually, Snake is going to tie this up.
Did not see that coming, but I gotta tell you, like, Beasty got really, I feel, thrown off by that opening. Like, that wasn't just a little bit of damage. And it was initially a little bit of damage, but it seemed to just have something more to it, where he was just mad, tilted, pissed. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like he's too passionate and raging or anything like that, but something threw him off for that rest of that game. Because that wasn't even like a Zerg is good situation, right? Like, we've seen those games where you're like, oh, Zerg's a nice race. Cool. That wasn't even the case.
No. That's first of all, looked a lot more like Heart of the Swarm, with like a 2-base lair versus a 2-base direct medevac drop push. And then, second of all, it just looked like maybe the build was a little off, especially because of the early game harassments, and as such, the whole timings were off. I guess Beastyqt misread the situation. He's asking right now, what build was that?
Yeah, scaring you. So, we'll hop into Orbital Shipyard as soon as they're ready. Who's this Snake guy? Is he like a known player? No. This is why I really like making all of our stuff open. Snake might not even take this series, but he's already impressed a couple of people in chat, and that's really how you start your rise to fame as an unknown nobody, frankly. That's how it worked for streaming for us. But okay, Orbital Shipyard, we'll see you guys in a moment. Alright, it is tied up 1-1. Beasty's still just like asking questions, like he just like, what the hell happened that game, man? Spawning in the top right side of Orbital Shipyard, it's gonna be TES's Pink Terran player, tied up 1-1, Beastyqt.
In the bottom left, as the blue Zerg, he is Snake. Oh boy.
Alright, so this is kind of cool. I never really thought about doing this before. sorry, this is unrelated to StarCraft. This has entirely to do with one of our subscribers, Gibby311 in chat. We both play that same stupid mobile game, Summoner's War. And we have found a way to kind of AFK play together while we're long casting StarCraft. Yeah, I am in essence just queuing with him into this fight and then just kind of ignoring it while we cast the game. It's kind of cool. So, that level of sub-interaction on BaseTrade, am I right? Woo!
Impressive. Except, you know, it's okay.
You're just like, I don't care, Rick, and I know you've spent over like $300 on this dumbass game. And
yeah,
I'm, like,
I'm surprised
you know
you're
what?
still playing it.
I thought I was doing bad. So I've calmed down significantly. I've probably spent less than $100 since January on this game. So I'm feeling better about my spending on mobile apps. But I was watching this guy on the Reddit who has spent $22,000 since 2013 on this damn game, and I'm like,
there's enough stuff to buy $22,000 worth.
Well, you just keep gambling essentially over and over, right? And I'm like, oh my god, like that made me think. Okay, there's one guy. All right, there's one guy, one semi-popular YouTuber. I can only imagine, like, again, this kills me. I bring this up with some relativeness, guys. Going back to StarCraft for a second, where like microtransactions can totally be addictive, and I'm speaking from experience here. I want Blizzard to make something I can buy so badly.
Well, they got Overwatch. Hopefully they're going to use that.
Right, but here's the thing, and this is where I talk from a very serious point of view for a moment. A big part of why I don't just quit this mobile game like everyone told me to, like, say, 3 months ago was because I did feel I've spent money on it. It would be a waste to leave it alone. And there's almost that degree of StarCraft where, like, let's assume you spend $50 on StarCraft skins, and you're, like, stuck in Platinum League and mad you'll never hit Diamond. If you didn't spend that money and there was no extra investment, you're like, well, I don't care about this game. I'm out. This is too hard. But you're like, at the same time, well, maybe I'll keep going. I mean, I did spend like $80 plus the $50 to buy the game on skins and all this. Like,
I think that's all you. Like, I have bought probably,
you know what,
$50 worth of hero stuff, and I don't. That doesn't.
We're gonna
it doesn't make me play the game.
We're gonna go YouTuber mode on this for a second, right? So like, we don't have a comment section down below, but in Twitch chat, if you guys have ever spent money on a game, like maybe it's Heroes or League of Legends or anything, did spending that money on the game make you want to play that game? Or not make you want to play it more, but more like it made it less easy, less likely for you to quit that game? I'm actually curious on public opinion on this.
Because that's,
Beasty, no. He needed these to buy time.
He still saves 3 of them, so that should be enough, but, yeah, that was a mistake. And that is the difference, though. Like, I have bought a skin and then immediately wanted to play it, and I'll play it for, like, 2 days. But as far as, like, making me not, like, regret, like, right now, as I'm thinking it, like, oh, I spent $50 on that game. Why am I not playing it ever? Like, I haven't touched Heroes in months.
So, I mean, I spent, I think, whatever the amount of money was to buy that Gazla skin. And I was like, cool. Now I'm going to play Gazla for weeks straight. And that was the, like, enticement to play it. But then also I kept playing because I was like, I spent the money on the skins. I might as well just enjoy it. Like, play a game a day, even something simple as that.
I'm glad I don't have that problem.
Okay, well, we'll see whether I'm the only one with this issue or whether we have other addicts in chat. But the Reapers do finally get cleaned up. However, they did, well, not great damage, do their job. They kept the Roaches at home. They kept the Roaches from pushing. Because if BC had to deal with something on the other side of the map, yes, you've got a bunker, but this wouldn't just be Roaches. This would be a couple of Ravagers. This would break it down, and an all-in would have destroyed him.
Yeah, I thought he already had stim, because when you only open up with, well, in this case it was 4 Reapers, not 3, but we've seen other people just open up with 3. You can get stim really quickly, and, I assume that it was done because all combat shields. He was actually in combat shields first, which is very interesting. Combat shields can lend itself to, like, a very surprising push with a handful of Marines. We've seen it from other Terrans on, like, Prion, for instance, but this feels really off-timed if it is going to be a push. It's going to have tanks with it, too, as opposed to just being a handful of Marines. And in that case, it'd have to have a medevac, otherwise the tank would feel kind of useless. And not to mention the mutas are going to be out if he is going to push with this.
I mean, it's not even the instance of, like, getting caught off guard. You almost expect mutas because Snake's done it.
That's
game.
true.
Like,
yeah.
If you're playing somebody like Snoot, you're like, okay, he's got a bag of tricks. Like, what could it be? But Snake has revealed 2 muta builds back to back, high masters. You can kind of bank on them not having 17 builds. Like, there's a lot of stuff for BC where I think there are things to expect.
The defensive combat shields can be really important. We've seen experimentation with that against Protoss all-ins, against Zerg all-ins, and It's not bad. It's obviously a very good upgrade. It's just usually not something that people prioritize defensively. They figure that missile turrets and bunkers would be better while you wait for stim. That's what it looks like it is, a defensive combat shield. So give him just a little bit extra health on those Marines. And then he goes into stim. He also plants on his third base on location, which doesn't quite have engineering bays ready yet again. They're finishing up now, and he'll probably need those missile turrets just to cover all of his bases. He's going to be very spread out. It only has a certain number of Marines.
Yeah. The nice thing with turrets, you know, we've all seen it too many times, right? Like, mutas can take on a turret, it's not that big of an issue, but it does buy you the time to react to it, and that's what probably matters the most. Hearthstone, for a lot of people, looks like I'm getting them for that cost, by the way. They're like, yeah, I spent hundreds of dollars on packs, like, I gotta keep playing. Oh my god, is this guy for real? Catch-2, I'm so sorry. He spent like 1,200 on League? Oh my gosh.
Oh, that...
I can understand.
1,200 3 years ago. I don't know what she spent now.
I've spent at least 300 on League. I haven't touched League in like 2 years, but like I had bought so many skins on that game. That was like hardcore addict. I know I've spent something like 200 at least on CS:GO for crates.
Oh Jesus!
Like,
yeah, I spent I think exactly $10 on CS:GO.
I'm a sucker for microtransactions. I love the gamble aspect of it. That for me.
I love,
that's
like,
why I'm gonna go poor with Overwatch.
So,
like,
right, exactly. Like I guess I make myself sound like, you know, I'm totally immune to it. But I mean, if you've ever gone to like BlizzCon or anything, like, I'm addicted to pins. I spent way too much money at BlizzCon. So
actually, I've seen that. Yeah, Zombie Girl. Anytime there's pins, whether we're at Disneyland or BlizzCon, she goes nuts because it's assorted random pins. You don't get to pick which ones you get.
It's the best. Or like the cards, like, man, I've been on a hunt for WCS cards. I finally got a whole pack, so I have a couple of doubles and triples now. But
that's actually an interesting point because we had this then. I bought those pins from like Disneyland and from BlizzCon, and I thought it was fun. But I was like, okay, 2 packs, I'm done. Like, this really doesn't interest me. And I don't see why people would keep doing it.
Like,
but Disney, for you went ham, so I guess it's the same dynamic. Whereas you can't fathom why I would spend the same amount of money on like a mobile app. Is like me for you for pins.
I don't even wear the pins.
I have them. You're a hoarder. You're literally a pin hoarder.
I do. I got like, I have a cork board.
Mom, don't touch them. I like them exactly where they are.
I have 2 cork boards, and I took down a couple of pictures, and I put up the pins there, and I'm going to try and make it my esports photo board, but I only have a limited amount of things that are actually printed. Everything else is digital. There's like 4 pictures from like TwitchCon.
Nice. Alright, Beasty going for some scans. I do want to point out that Beasty's done a great job coming back into this game. Not in terms of like he was ever really super in danger being behind, but his opening was something vulnerable. Now, Snake didn't take advantage of it, and that's good for Beasty, and now he's got this incredibly powerful army. Looking to push out. There's some banelings back at home. Speed is done. He's going to be fighting on creep. Beasty's pushed down this side of the map. With 4 Liberators, lots of tanks. Like, this choke is going to be hard for Snake to fight in. But he's gonna have the units capable to deal with it at least. It's just about a matter of how he takes that fight. Does he take that fight?
Right, and as it looks like it's gonna be happening soon, I won't develop further into this topic. Oh, that tank was not sieged. Oh, you feel a little useless. No medevacs to help pick up these Marines, and of course none to help them heal up, and Snake actually just kind of rolls past the Marines.
Well,
the Liberators are a bit of a bigger issue, but even they can only help out so much.
This ends up being a very interesting trade, like an almost even wash, if you will. Beasty takes out all the Mutalisks, which is big, but he keeps the Liberators alive. I don't know. It's funny because Ultras, I didn't realize Hive Attack was finished. Like, Jesus, Snake on a roll here. Ultras are going to be on deck, and that's where Beasty has to start looking into it. Now, I do want to stress, Beasty knows how to play against Ultras. Well, we might see some flopping and flipping around here for the mid-game. Beasty has continually shown constant late-game versus Zerg, at least here on BaseTradeTV.
Yeah, he knows how to play against it, and taking out the mutas is a little bit helpful, but Snake was already transferring over into those corruptors really smartly, taking into account the liberators. So I think Snake is actually well set up to utilize this late game hive, which we've seen other Zergs, not as set up. Liberators actually do end up doing way too much damage to their Ultralisk count, but with 9 corruptors versus 5 liberators, it's actually pretty good. And the upgrades really aren't that bad either, only somewhat behind that of Beastyqt's. We do have a drop going on in the natural that has been entirely undefended. Looks like the drones were pulled at least, but he might lose the hatchery. He's entirely focused over on this side. He only just reacts to it. Like a handful of lings go back to it. So he could definitely focus that down. Now there's an Ultra. There you go.
Well, Kite Display's not done. If Beasty realized this, he probably could have actually kited that around and actually killed it. But Corruptors are hard to deal with. They have a lot of base armor, and as we see, the Marines are just kind of tickling. And with +1 Carapace, they don't go down too quick.
Oh, the one Baneling. Or the one Widowmine, rather.
One Widowmine took out all the Banelings.
Yeah.
One Baneling several times over. Widowmine's also getting some decent shots here on the Corruptors. The Chitin splitting is done now. Beasty's bio is falling apart, but the drop's still going off while this happens. It's like the Ultra is brought to the front lines. He's going to chase drones. Could probably kill the hatchery if he wanted to.
Yeah, I really feel like at this point he should have, because he hasn't killed the drones. They've always been pulled away, which is really nice. In general, 16 have gone down, but still at 68. So I think the hatchery, if it had been target fired, would have been at least low enough to kind of poke later and kill. But Snake does a good job defending. He now has an ultimate late game army. Oh, well, kind of ultimate. He is missing Fungals and might want to replenish the Corruptor count a little bit. Oh, that Queen!
Ah, the Queen! Son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Sorry, the Terran enemy guys just couldn't hold back.
Right? So that drop gets back in there. It's a different drop, which is really nice from Beastyqt, and now it's including some Marauders, which are going to be able to take out that hatchery a little bit faster. But one Ultra is like the best defense. It's an very expensive defending unit, but it is something that they won't be able to deal with. I was just thinking, we're talking about feeling that regret and feeling like you need to play the game. But you know what the universal, opposite of that is, I suppose?
What's
Steam
that?
Sales.
Steam sales. Steam sales, I feel bad. I have a lot of games I've never played on my Steam,
but
I
no
buy.
one actually plays them.
I will say, I've played at least, 80% of the things I have on Steam. But there's a good chunk of games that I sit there and I'm like, man, Fallout 4, I've still never finished. I've played it, but I've never finished,
I haven't even started, 70% of my games on Steam. Damn. I'm impressed if you've actually played 80%.
Well, most of what I buy ends up being co-op games, specifically with the intent to play with somebody, and that helps motivate you to play a little bit better, I think.
I see. I tried playing Far Cry, and that was fun enough, but now I'm doing Tomb Raider.
Yeah, you've been doing Tomb Raider streams recently. How's that been for you?
Tomb Raider is really fun. The problem right now is that I really don't care about the main story. I didn't really in the first game either, so I'm that person that just keeps on going ooh, side quest, so
ooh, over here. I caught you streaming yesterday, and one of the things I remember I kind of rolled my eyes at, but at the same time I was impressed with, was when you got out of the water and the character goes to dry her ponytail hair, kind of wring out the water. Oh, the
animation?
Yeah. The subtle little things in that game were damn impressive.
So when she throws a grenade or anything like that, it's actually really interesting. Depending on how you're moving, she'll realistically throw it. If she's moving backwards, she'll kind of turn around and throw it over her shoulder. It's a really beautiful game.
Well,
that's a beautiful Baneling hit.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Ultras don't really have a great answer. Snipes are out, and he does take a couple of them down, but he's got to back away. That Overseer's on the way and keeping these ghosts alive. Beasty is going to struggle to replace these units. Now, fighting around the planetaries is his best course of action. He can take on the Ultras, no problem. This is where the game gets really interesting, because we've seen a lot of players struggle when it comes to late-game Zerg. Once upon a time, Ultralists come and Terrans just weep. That's it. It's game over. No way to deal with them. Then people kind of started figuring out Ghosts. BC started figuring out the late game. Zerg players stopped realizing it wasn't about a face roll and started realizing they needed more things like Lings and Infestors to accompany all this. So while this goes on, BC's going to be getting Liberator range, continued upgrades by the looks of it, and these Ghosts are initially the answer, but not going to be the end game by the seams of things.
Yeah. He might have gotten a Ghost initially and held off on the continued Liberator production because there are already Corruptors out, but Corruptors are still useful, so they're going to take down those Medivacs, and Snake hasn't been regretting that choice. And of course, they'll be useful against the Liberators. Defending against this has been not really a problem. The Mutas seem odd. I think he got 3 or 4 more for whatever reason. They could just be simply anti-drop defense.
So I want to say Beasty, again, maybe there was a bit of underestimation that went into this series. There's kind of some small banter about his opponent being high masters before the first game even went down. And Snake, of course, right off the bat, saying on stream, I'm going to embarrass myself. I'll give it to him, though. He's playing a pretty mean TvZ. Both of them are. And I'm more impressed with Snake because he's a player we don't know. This is a guy we haven't seen before.
Yeah. Well, this is not very impressive. Loses a lot of his units. The Snape's going on to the Corruptors, too.
You know what? There's the Artosis curse where he predicts someone to win and they fall apart. Every time we compliment people on BaseTradeTV, yeah, there you go. He just realized what just... Oh, God.
It's not the end of the game for him, luckily. He is still at 100 army supplies, only 30 down. That's Beastyqt. He's getting his upgrades to finish up, too, which have been missing for about a minute and a half. Although Beastyqt is getting his like miscellaneous upgrades as well as 4 Ghost Academies.
So he's gonna be doing nukes.
Shit.
I like this. This isn't even trolling. Beasty's someone who's actually been pretty nuke persistent, like you could say. One thing I do kind of like though, and this seems a bit silly, is I do like the extra range on the turrets. High-sec auto tracking is a greatly underappreciated upgrade, I feel. And oh, Snake, you gotta know, man. The first thing you check is all your bases. He's pulling the drones.
We'll have to move that Spore Crawler to be able to, see this in the future.
What Spore Crawler?
Well, it died. Whoopsie. You'll have to remake a Spore Crawler.
Shout out to Hardy Marty for that 20-month resub. Is that our first sub shout out of the day?
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, I guess I shouted a lot of them out while I was doing Stardew earlier, so kind of ruined it for the Starcast stream. Either way, big love, Hardy Marty. Thank you. Thank you. Modoc's dad in chat, by the way, was asking about his resub, which is coming up today or tomorrow. And for those who don't know, being subscribed to the channel is an automatic feature on Twitch. You can choose to disable this pretty easily through your settings and your subscription panel, but by default, it is an automatic renewal system.
Yep. We have a high Liberator count, a lot of nukes on the way, but the armor supply has evened out again.
Beasty might actually, this sounds silly, need to land a nuke on the army. There's not a lot here that's going to really stand up to a nuke, and obviously anytime you can nuke units, that's a great feeling. But this is a really large amount of lings, and he doesn't exactly have a lot of marines or splash damage. Like, what Beasty excels at right now is killing single targets, not lots of single targets.
Yeah, that perfectly sums it up. It's the lings that are going to be the most deadly thing. 4 Marauders will take out that hatchery finally.
Nice.
I think it's been a target for a very long time. We do not have Adrenal Glands, so these lings are a little less powerful than they should be, but they're still at 3-3, so that's pretty impressive. And I also really like that Snake went for Carapace upgrades first for his heir, realizing the importance of taking out those Liberators and keeping his Corruptors alive as long as possible. It'll also be helpful if you do get Mutas, which it looks like he's going to try and go back into, I guess, once again to defend against these drops, but he never rebuilt any detection for that base. As such, this is going to continue to be killed and harassed. It's barely not killed.
Just auto-attack that down.
Yeah, just tap it.
Ooh, some nukes going off in the main, though. This is a couple of nukes. This is 3 nukes. This is going to kill the Spire, I think.
Yeah, I think it's in range. That's the 3 students. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's not. But it gets the double Evo chambers, which isn't bad. It sounds silly, because upgrades for melee are done, but still, kills are kills. Snipes the Overseer Cocoon. So this gets a little bit problematic for Snake, right? Because what do you do in Snake's shoes? You're like, I can either keep taking these nukes, I can play super defensive, or trigger gets pulled and you go for the attack.
Snake might have to go for the attack here. We have 5 more nukes. That's insane. That's
the nukes,
silly.
by the way, I just want to throw out, BC's been doing this since like the days of Starbow. All right, like this isn't something new to him.
It is a new. I guess the last couple times we've seen him go into the late game, it has been very like turtly. You come to me defensive, and not even with any ghost harassment. So this is a new addition, a little perfection on his late game.
How do you pull if everything's being nuked?
I think you just run in and try and kill them.
Oh
you
no!
will find this one, but
the ghost is killed. Yeah. Jesus!
Yeah, okay.
But this one, I don't think you realized. Almost. Okay, look at the hatchery at least.
Okay. Yeah, the hatchery goes down. Snake does not have that big of a bank, so this is starting to get really, really obnoxious. And you know what? The real problem is that Snake has not been taking down his opponent's extra bases, even though they've been kind of led to be bare. Like, both of their armies on the right side, a handful of lings, especially with the Adrenal Glands, could take down a planetary, could take down all these building command centers.
I tell you what, right now Snake is getting the workout of a lifetime for his glutes with all that clenching.
Butt clenches.
Just like
everyone do 20 right now. Just to improve your health.
Kegels again.
Oh Jesus, they're not the same. I swear to God.
Conceptually is what I'm saying. All right, like.
Oh Jesus. He could split a little bit and probably take on those Liberators.
Yes.
But he decides not to.
While this goes on, I really want to stress, like, what BC's doing is a little bit silly in terms of like ways to take this on, but I think he's recognized as well as most of us that a head-on engagement with his army might go in his favor, but might most likely wouldn't. So taking all these bases on the map, okay, this is where the game gets silly in my eyes, but for what he's doing strategically, running around, nuking, not engaging head-on, I think this is a really smart way for him to play. It's obnoxious for certain for Snake to deal with, but this is game 3 and BC doesn't want to lose it.
One important thing that's happening that could still lead to Beastqt's demise is that despite having extra command centers and a lot of them being orbitals, he's at 70 SCVs. Every single time I look, it seems like Snake is getting higher and higher on that army supply count, so his army is pretty damn good. It's still missing some key elements, though. You know, like there's no Brood Lords, still no Agino Lands. I don't know how many Infestors he has, just 2. No extra Queens. In fact, he's only at 2 Queens, so he may have a problem with Larva as well as Gas. He finds...
That's a lot of planetaries.
Oh, God. Yeah, I didn't think those would be planetaries.
Yeah, I thought he was making a bunch of orbitals to just drop people away.
Yeah.
Alright,
it's single Ultra and a handful of things would be enough, but so much for the Ultras, Kevin.
Fuck this
building. Oh, so much for that ghost!
Oh, hello! Hello!
Ah!
Well, gets the Ultra Kevin, gets the infestation pit, and was that the spawning pool too? It's 2
spawning pool?
Yeah. Well.
Oh, no, the other new spawning pool. Wait, what the fuck?
Look, he knows things are gonna go down, alright, Zombie Grove? Regardless, Snake taking way so much damage from nukes, and it's worth noting these aren't cheap nukes from Beasty. Look at the resources lost. It's actually pretty bad for Beasty.
Oh my god.
The Ghost is 200, 100. The nuke is another 100, 100, and he's losing all these units, not retaining them. So it's very expensive what he's doing. It's silly, and this is where I start disliking it. I think nukes are great. They're good zoning mechanisms. They can scare your opponent.
Okay.
But when you start losing all the ghosts with them, that's where it's really not worthwhile.
So finally we have the air kind of taking control. The mutas were made, I think, as first drop defense, but then he realized, like, he's taking over the left side of the map. He took my base. That is his base off to the left. And Snake should probably be taking the middle gold bases too, but he hasn't thought of that yet. The entire, game has been the right side of the map for these ghosts.
Nice try, Corruptors.
Out, but they're actually taking them out pretty slowly because it takes time to ramp up.
Yes, I also want to note that that's where the range weapon upgrades looks really nice coming in again for the missile turrets.
But finally we have a greater spire. Since the first spire went down, he did replenish it with 2 more to get continue making those upgrades, and Brood Lords would have been able to slowly harass that base or add on to the main army.
He's going to start going for a push. Lots of Liberators advancing forward means the Ultras can't come in. It's worth noting there's 100 damage per shot on these Liberators. They are fully upgraded.
He really should be getting some Vipers, I think. I mean, the Corruptor's going to come in here, but they're not going in first. The Liberators are still doing damage to the Ultras. Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Jesus. Okay,
the Ultras going to get sniped to be finished, too, by the way. I just want to point out everything just died simultaneously.
Yeah. Everything is dying for Beastyqt, too, but he has so much... Oh, actually, the Marauders don't die.
Well, forget the Marauders. The Ghost auto attack is going to wreck the Mutas. The Mutas are the only thing to fight with.
Yeah, everything got wrecked for Snake, and he didn't have a bank, so Beastyqt is taking that game.
That was not the type of game or the series I was expecting, but very happy with the way that ended up. And congratulations for Beasty, who I'm sure is happy he won too. He does have a Zerg opponent next, and whoever he fights, as it's going to be either Guru or Tang Tang. Oh, Guru beat Tang Tang 2-0. That Polish pride, though. All right, so guys, we're going to go to a commercial break. We're going to do Guru versus BC. If you could let them know that we'd like to host the lobby this time, pretty please. And we'll be back in 2 minutes. So real quick before I do, guys, this is the G2A Cup. This is a once-off tournament we would definitely be willing to make more of if you guys are buying games on G2A. The goal is if we can make $50 in sales. So again, to be perfectly clear, that's not like one person going out and buying a $50 game. But if we can make $50 in sales, we will host another G2A Cup in the near future. But for now, we are going to go to a break, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes.